Hey guys, another video for our Nature and Environment in Japan playlist. You will often see signs like this beside the road in Japan, particularly in the mountains, warning you to be careful of monkeys on the road. And the signs themselves are quite common, you do tend to see them quite a lot, but the wild monkeys themselves, very rare to see them. The ones that you do see around hot springs and tourist areas and places like that tend to be only half wild because they've got so used to people that they're not really wild anymore. So it's actually very rare to see a wild one. But we stopped the car up in the mountains here to film this interesting bus stop, and we saw some movement in the trees, and as you can see we were quite far away. We're using a zoom on a small camera, so it was actually quite hard to see it with the eye, but the camera did pick it up. And if you look down there to the left, you will see some baby monkeys, 3 or 4 of them, and they're eating. There's sort of shoots and leaves there of some description that they must have come down to get. You see another one in the middle of the screen up the top behind the trees. Really hard to see. You guys are having the advantage of being able to see it in slow motion with a zoom lens, whereas we were really having trouble seeing them. We could see the movement, and we could sort of see by the colour that they were monkeys. You can see now in the left hand corner there, see them eating? They've got leaves of some description there that they're eating. So there's 3 or 4 or maybe even 5 small monkeys there eating quite happily. It seemed to not care about us at all. But as you'll see, a larger monkey came down. Now obviously we don't know if it was male or female, but it's come down the hill quite concerned about us. And it didn't actually make any noise. None of them did. The little ones didn't either. They're all totally silent. This big one came down, sort of got the attention of all the little ones, and then turned around and walked back up the hill, and they all followed it, which was sort of interesting. So you can see it's quite a big one. So this is usually the case. We've never actually seen a real wild monkey. I mean, you see them in zoos in Japan, and you see them in the tourist areas where they sort of come out and you feed them and off they go. And they're sort of semi-wild really, because they're used to people and used to being around people, but these full-on wild ones obviously don't want to have anything to do with people at all. So if you're lucky enough in Japan to spot a real wild monkey, this is likely to be the experience, is glimpsing it between trees and watching them run away from you basically. So we've never seen real wild ones like this before in Japan, and the Japanese people we're with had never seen real wild ones in Japan like this before either. So we see lots of the warning signs, but you usually don't get to see the monkeys themselves. Obviously they just stay away from the main roads and stay away from people. So we're just lucky. There must have been something tasty down there next to the road that brought them down that close. Something they were enjoying eating. And then once we went over there and they saw us, they took off, and that was the end of it. So if you're lucky enough to see real wild monkeys in Japan, this is likely to be an experience. The postcards and things that you see are usually those semi-wild ones that come in and get fed and have their pictures taken and pose for the cameras and that sort of thing, whereas this is sort of the wild experience. Anyway, there it was. More videos coming soon.